When it comes to new gen characters, a lot of people like them because of their heroic feats in the show and their overall interaction with the other characters. And when they see themselves in those main characters in the show that can carry them about their own virtual lives. However, on the other hand, many people don't like them because they're overall either annoying, cry too much, scream too much, or maybe their just goals are not really, I guess, impactful enough. That being said, so when it comes to Deku, Tanjiro, and Asta, I could see like a great amount of great traits in them in the whole show, but I could see why people don't like those characters or why. Because one thing they all have in common is that they all have a specific goal they want to achieve at the end, and you can see that they could probably achieve it over time over the years. Because you saw it before in origin characters like Naruto, Ichigo, Goku, Luffy. You can always see that it's like a recycled goal that they have to do. Well, I don't mind this personally, but I can see why people don't like this trait of new generation characters. They all kind of seem in common, and you see it all like recycled all over again. And then you come across a character named Denji, whose only goal in the beginning of the show is to touch boobs. Yep, boobs. With that being said, this is a deep dive character analysis on Denji and why he's one of my favorite jump protagonists ever, if he's considered showing a jump, because Chainsaw Man is off the wall, and you'll see why in a minute. That being said, let's go. Oh, whoa. My favorite things about Denji are the qualities he has as a person, his development, and his dynamics with other characters. You start from the first few pages and you can see how alone he was. Well, not really. You see Denji had always had his half, I want to say, dog and half chainsaw. Ever since his parents were killed, all he had was Pachita as his pet. In the beginning of Chainsaw Man, talked about how Denji inherited his father's death from a group called Yakuza, which is a dangerous group that hunt devils for their living. So in order to pay off those debts that his father left for him in the Yakuza, Denji has to work with the group, and then he has to take his Pachita pet, which is Chainsaw pet, and use him to defeat devils in their city. So yeah, and due to some events happening that leading up to that, basically the Yakuza turned on Denji because of course they would. You can't trust nobody in Yakuza, and that led to teacher looking out for Denji and them fusing together, and that's how it became Chainsaw Man, the one and only hero that we know today. And in case you wonder what his powers consist of, well, he's a chainsaw and he's a man, so a chainsaw uses what a chainsaw does and shred and slice everyone last of them people against him. So that's what he did, and all the blood and gore, you can see all the corpse on the ground, and yeah, what an ugly sight. And then Makima appears, and that was the end of the first chapter in Chainsaw Man. The further chapters later on, we take a deep dive in Denji and his relationship, open up to other people and stuff like that. But the thing that I love most about Denji is that we can see, like with the first few chapters, that we can see that he managed to get by on his own. And I mean by that is that his favorite food when he comes home after like a long day is to make a peanut butter mustard jam sandwich with other stuff on it. I could be wrong about the toppings, but I just know wherever it was on that sandwich when I saw it, if I ate it, I would be in a damn hospital. But basically what I'm trying to get at is that he appreciates everything he could get. See, growing up for Denji, like I said, he was in poverty, his parents was killed, and then he basically had to get by on his own from the Yakuza, the money and devil hunting he did on his own. So he met Makima, and she changed his life by giving him more options, more houses, more food, like udon and noodles, stuff he never had as a kid. He appreciates a whole bunch. Now, other things that made Denji unique is that his hilarious personality. He is a straightforward guy, sometimes rude to people and doesn't know how to hold back or doesn't want to. If someone disrespects him, he's going to disrespect them right back and even harder and unforgiving way. Anyways, yeah, he also acts childish in a way from the beginning. You could tell that he has no sort of training at all. You can see a lot of this in the beginning arcs of Chainsaw Man, and when we're introduced to more characters such as Makima, Aki, Power, this is where one of Chainsaw Man great traits comes from. Its characters' interaction and its situational circumstances. I could spend a ton of time talking about the other characters' personalities like Aki, Power, and more, but I could say that for another video in the future. But I think the first character that comes in interaction with Denji can involve Aki, Makima, and Power. Those are the main ones. Those three, and as well as another character I'm mentioning later on, those could be like the great cause of his development throughout the whole show, which was one of the best developments I've seen in a while. So yeah, Denji first encounters Makima at the end of page 1. You see him almost immediately lusting after her boobs, and her beauty as well. Who wouldn't? And when Makima approaches him, she offers him. Well, she's first of all surprised by how much damage she's caused by, a boy by himself. But he offers her, a condition that if you delete the gun devil, that she'll do anything that you request from Denji. And Denji almost immediately says yes because he realized that, his goal would be accomplished of, having sex and touching boobs and all in one with the beautiful Makima. As a normal teenage boy would, he would be excited that he's going to lose his virginity. And so Denji already seems related about that, him losing almost virginity to Makima, that pushes himself to, do great things, to keep going forward, to keep, defeating devils in her behalf, just, so he can fulfill his goal. So throughout the story, you see Denji and Makima's relationship grow. We learn more about the differences and similarities, such as when they first saw a bunch of movies on a movie date. Throughout the showings, the first movie they saw was a comedy. While everyone in the theater was laughing, Denji doesn't laugh at all. You could say that this is probably because, he grew up in poverty and was not rare to surroundings in his childhood. But then he looks over to Makima and then he notices that she doesn't laugh either. She actually critiques a lot movie at the end of the film, and they go see other movies continuing the same cycle where Denji's getting bored more and more, and then you see Makima doing the same expression as always, just bored and critiquing it. So yeah. And then the final movie comes. In terms of today's youth, the movie you could say, was mid for the quality. Makima enjoys it and actually ends up crying. Denji also cries as well. This interaction hits because even though majority of the characters in the show see Makima as like this boss figure and somewhat scary lady, he sees her as a normal person. He, as Denji, of course, and being on a date with her, realized that he's in love with her even more. So this is a relationship you can see that brewing on with Denji and Makima. That's one of the dynamics in the show. Then you see another character named Power, who is somewhat simple but great relationship as well. And as mentioned before, I could spend forever talking about so many characters in this show, but I'll save for another video. But to simplify, Denji and Power relationship is basically a brother and sister relationship. When we're introduced to Power, she seems like an annoying brat that wants everyone to feel her wrath, because Power, everyone with no power, which makes sense because even though she's a devil fiend herself, Denji even finds her annoying, and even said that in the beginning of the series that if she dies, he wouldn't cry or even care. Actually, the feelings are mutual as well. Power didn't care about Denji at all, but she was stuck doing devil hunting work because of Makima. Later on, Power eventually ends up trusting and caring for Denji when he does heroic feat for her, such as saving her cat. Yep, you gotta know the context for that one, but I'll say that for another time. But chapters go by, and you see them learning about each other and looking after each other through certain missions and hard times. There are many chaotic events. They learn to trust one another and work together with each other. But in the meantime, the other pal, Aki, has to look out for him because he's a straightforward and dark guy. So and basically the most mature one out of all those three. So so yeah, you can tell by Denji and Power similarities actually start to flourish because they both childish. They both complain. They both does what they want and doesn't care what nobody thinks. They're both ruthless and rude sometimes. So yeah, they have so many things in common with each other. So Aki has to look out for them so they won't go off, basically killing themselves or getting in trouble. So yeah, the reader could tell as well as reading Chainsaw Man themselves that Denji or Power is like the second coming of Denji because it adds so much light, and they both are really funny characters and they have so many great moments throughout the show and the story that it's just honestly it makes me confident to say when they get animated, the anime community will see that they are one of the best new gen duos ever. Yes, I said it and I'm confident behind that. Stand behind that. Yep. Love Power and Denji, shout out to them. Now moving on to another relationship Denji has with the character, but however this character is an antagonist of the story and one of the first antagonists to stand out in the story as well. So when I say this, his relationship with Reese, which is, I'll get into who she is later on, I'll probably say that for another video as well. So their relationship stood out to me because, well, their interaction as well, and as well as the art dynamic behind like the panels that I seen in the manga, and also their beliefs and their character traits, and their upbringing as well. So the simple story to this dynamic is that Reese, a beautiful girl that comes into Denji's life and develops a relationship with him. It's important to keep in mind that he is still have a desire for Makima and that she's the only one for him, and that is where he is kind of conflicted when Reed shows up and forms a new relationship with him. It's kind of like a clash between like a girl and a boy in high school that first meet each other and get along well and they develop feelings for each other in high school. That high school lovey-dovey stuff. So he loves Makima and he's starting to love Reed as well, even the chapter where she takes him to a school and teaches him about the school life he missed out on. You see them having a relationship, and I honestly see myself in his shoes. I'm pretty sure a lot of teenage boys, as well as me, because I had a similar thing in high school. So I could feel for him, and I was genuinely happy that he found someone that he could have like a great time with, other than basically explore his and basically you can see that he's getting comfortable and enjoying himself as well. And when Denji, a character that grew up in poverty and is basically alone all the time, you see and feel for him and gets happy for him, at least for me, at least. So panels later, and you can see that they are getting a little more romantic, and then that beautiful scenery where she kisses Denji in front of the flyer is probably one of my favorite panels ever, because at least in that whole story, because it's so beautiful. And I love how the creator, made like a contrast between like light and darkness. It's I could go on forever, but yeah. So they share a beautiful kiss, and then you just see him on the ground, all bloodied up. I'm like, whoa. And then you see him that she has a tongue in it, as a viewer's discretion advised. Basically, you see him that it's like a little gross moment that they have, but she bit his tongue off, and you see why, because she is an evil girl, and the bomb devil appears out of nowhere. The bomb devil, who is a dangerous fiend, appears out of nowhere and wrecks shit up. And then Denji is honestly heartbroken because the girl that he loved and developed a new relationship with is an evil person that's out to kill him. So yeah, it hit me hard and broke all of our hearts that he has to now fight her and defeat her, because nothing is real and pain will always prevail. So a few action panels later, and then you can see them going at it, which I'll save for another video as well. I'm going to go more in depth with Reed's character as well. But yeah, at the end of the chapter, or in the arc, you see Denji all alone once again, bringing flowers to the place that they first met up and have like a first conversation with. And then you just see him sitting there all alone, and he just scream, why, why? And yeah, so Denji is all alone once again, and he has a blank expression on his face, but at the same time, his heart is broken. You can tell that it is effective, not only him, but to the readers as well. And soon the anime watches, so yeah, well, I didn't spoil it for you, but yeah. Man, what an arc. Bomb Girl arc is one of my favorite arcs in Chainsaw Man, and you see why. So as you can tell, so far when I'm talking about other characters in the show, and then as they get introduced to Denji, you can tell that, he is starting to adapt to the new life that he's acquiring when he first met Makima. So she brings him along, give him all these new friends, or she introduces him all these new friends, and then he comes across different characters in the show. And he kind of learns things too for like different characters, how they think, how people act, in this society, that he didn't never knew that it was like this. So as he get introduced, some of these things that hits hard for him, he just keep like a blank expression on his face, and he's forced to move on because that's just life. So from that and these events, you could tell that he's kind of the guy that just just takes whatever he gets coming to him, and then he has to move on. He doesn't like sit down and cry, because that doesn't solve anything. He has to move on no matter what, and then just basically go on about his life, because it's what he kind of saw coming, and then but it still hits. Now I've been saving this character for last to go over his relationship with Denji, and that character name is Aki. So his dynamic with Denji is honestly like a callback to Naruto and Sasuke to me. Now, even though they are not necessarily the same rivalry, but the characters put a spin on that. When Aki first met Denji, we could already tell that they did not like each other, which makes sense because Aki been in the Devil Hunter Association for a while with Makima, and he's the type that is like quiet and mature, and you can tell he has like a dark past behind him, which he does, and he gives off that antisocial type of vibe. And then you see Denji come along and just messing up his vibe, and the childish ways and his childish ways of thinking and stuff like that. And you can tell the characters don't really agree with each other, or like just go back and forth with each other. Aki doesn't take Denji seriously because, well, one of his goals is to touch boobs and to have or to be a Makima. And then you can tell that Aki, I think he even said that that if you're in this association just to do that, then you might as well leave now because you'll end up dead. Which makes sense because, well, the association is pretty dark, and then you can see, like, especially throughout the whole series, that they characters die left and right, and you can tell that when he said that he was not bluffing or be just joking. So yeah, even though they didn't like each other at first, you can see that throughout the progression of the story that the characters end up learning the other ideas and past experiences that make them who they are. As time went on, you could tell that their friendship was starting to form, and then one was beginning to care about the other, especially Aki, because, well, Aki's the type of person that only cared for one person, and when that person, spoiler alert, ends up, dying, that his feeling is kind of numb. It's kind of gone for anybody. He doesn't really care about nobody else. And then, however, when their relationship, or I'm sorry, friendship with Denji and Power comes along, he ends up caring for them a lot. And then a decision he made in the series that really sucks. We begin to learn more about his intentions with Denji and Power. We get to know his true emotions regarding them, and that's how you know that Denji helped break Aki's silence or his wall throughout the story. And you can see those characters and then those dynamics between those characters develop really nice over the story. And then we get to the certain point where in the story that everything takes a turn once again. Everything goes south because due to certain events, we see Denji ends up fighting Aki. And well, like I said, I won't really go into spoilers like that just in case y'all want to read it. But basically, all I'm gonna say is well, some spoilers, of course. But basically, all I'm gonna say is that some events that happen at the end of the arc, where Denji fights Aki, and the end result of that arc, well, Denji, this is where it broke Denji and broke all the readers' hearts. Yeah, you could tell by the emotion in his face, in his stomach that this one hits hard because well, the memories, the friendship, the experiences that formed over the chapters and over the times, it ends abruptly, and this breaks Denji, and you could tell by the whole demeanor and his way of thinking and his facial expressions also as well. Now, in regards to the ending of Chainsaw Man, which I think really hits hard and is like a conclusion to Denji's character at first. So yeah, I was originally gonna talk about the ending of the whole ending of Chainsaw Man, but I might skip around some things due to some save stuff like for another video, such as the how and why of certain things that are happening. But I'll say that for another video, more in depth tackle of that. However, I will talk about the ending surrounding Denji, so there will be some major spoilers. So the ending dynamic to Chainsaw Man was a crazy and yet so captivating film. It felt like a true finale to a character, but yet it was a prologue to Denji's story. So due to some certain events and plot twists in the story to drive it to its climax, we learn that Denji returns to his old status of being alone and also depressed when things go on a downhill surge. Denji, you could say, was the cause of it, but this time it was revealed that Makima was the reason behind the whole thing. This was revealed when she says, "I gave you friends and money and I can take it all away." And when Denji realized this and all the events that led up to her saying that, it's a sadistic laugh by the way, he's stuck and is helpless. And so was I. Also, a thing about Makima is that, well, she has like a shit ton of dogs. And if you've been in the Chainsaw Man community, a lot of people, bark for her, or they bark for anybody, but this time, when she means by like she makes people bark for her way of thinking is that those who are weaker than her, she views as dogs, and she has no interest over them except the Chainsaw Man, and that is it. So it is revealed that she is the true antagonist of the whole series. Now, skimming through some chapters, you see Denji's final opponent after taking on so many devils, some small, some huge, and some left a mark on him, Denji's heart. You see that his last opponent, his last enemy is Makima, a person who he truly admired. And yeah, that's where it hits again. They have a ferocious and crazy battle and the past gets involved. Denji must be the one to overcome all the obstacles. Now in between those fights, Makima and Denji fights a number of times, throughout the whole final arc. And there are great battles, but in between their first and their last battle, there are some heroic returns, great moments, past fiends, past devils, and even dance battles. Shout out to Benny. And now we have the final battle. Makima and Denji fight one last time in an epic graveyard scene, which does complement the tone. That one must go and one will stay. Makima brings her army and the Chainsaw Man is all alone. She sends her army of devil hunters that she controls after them. And he rips and shreds through every last one of them until Makima decides to fight him all by herself with ease at that because she is so powerful. Soon, when she defeats Chainsaw Man at the end, there is a pile of bodies. All of them were Makima's servants controlled by her power, of course. Then you see Makima smoking a cigarette, smoking that Chainsaw Man pack, as the kids would say. I'm getting old. Anyways, you see her smoking that cigarette as if she's won everything. And if you don't know, a couple of chapters back, before her, fight with Denji, she mentions that Her only goal was to either defeat Chainsaw Man or let Chainsaw Man consume her, which makes sense because the only person that she admired was Chainsaw Man, and she will feel worthy of being eaten by him. But it looks like that she defeated him once and for all. But that was until one of my favorite moments of Chainsaw Man ever. You see in the background behind her of somebody rising up slowly, but it was revealed to be Denji. And dressed up as one of the Maku's servants, he comes from behind and sliced her through her chest with his chainsaw. His chainsaw, an actual chainsaw. Well, to be fair, it was powerful. Him and Power's chainsaw. But either way, he caught her off guard and sliced her and stunned her and made sure that her wounds would not heal so fast and rapidly. That's how Power worked. But he made sure he put a Maku inside of her so that he could slow that down. So then he ends up apologizing, saying, "I'm sorry, Makima," because, well, to be fair, he did love her, but he proceeds to shred every last one of her into bits. And then later, literally panels later, he eats Makima in like food form. He eats her, so he could say that he literally. Never mind. I'm gonna get demonetized. I'm gonna get demonetized. But that is such a way to end. That is such a Chainsaw Man way to end a character. But as for Denji's character, this was a great and sad ending for him at the same time. The reason I say it was great because, well, he overcame a lot and defeated the biggest threat there was. And also at the end, people saw him as a hero and was recognized as a great person. Cut to when the people of the world was cheering for Chainsaw Man to stop Makima before their fight. But it was also sad by him making new friendships, by him going to different things. That was all gone. So he was back to being alone. Well, besides Pochita, because you know that he was at the start of the story. As terms like actual humans or people that met most of him, such as Aki, Power, yeah, they wasn't around. But he had Kobeni left, you know, and he also had his teacher Kishibe left, so you know he could look out for or rely on from time to time. So that was good. But you know, it turns like his old friendships and you know the one that met most of them, yeah, man, it sucks though. Also, I forgot to mention the fact that in the last chapter, one of the things that I point out and it actually hit me hard too was Denji conversation with Kishibe in the last chapter, and basically Kishibe asked how do you know that Makima would be caught off guard with his attack. And Denji said that, well, it was a risk he was taking, but also he knew that Makima was in love with Chainsaw Man, as in his form Chainsaw Man, but she was never in love with him, Denji, as a person. And I was like, God damn, that shit hit me, bro. I was like, oh, damn, this nigga Denji. Damn. Until at the final chapter of Chainsaw Man, last few pages, Kishibe revealed that there was a newborn Makima, and she was weak, adorable. But basically, yeah, there was a newborn Makima in a little girl body. However, this one isn't as twisted. This is a regular little girl. So if she has the right training, she could have the kind heart that she originally was supposed to be. Will that happen or not? Well, it's up to Denji because he must take care of her as well as, you know, the 10 dolls Makima had, by the way. But we see at the end, one of his first ways to take care of her is to just hug her like he did Pochita at the beginning of the story. And that is it for now. So this is why I love Denji. The story of Chainsaw Man made me love Denji, and everyone will see soon how much of an impact he will have on your lives in the anime community. Now as for what's next with Denji and newborn Makima, well, we shall see in part 2. Let's go. So that was my first analysis video on any character or any anime. So I told you I'm bringing this series on this channel, and I'm excited to do more. I got a lot more stuff planned, like as far as analysis videos. So you can let me know how you like this one down below, and hopefully this gets you to read Chainsaw Man and tell you why Denji is a GOAT. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, got more stuff coming to the channel, man. Thank you for support. I got some more analysis video on the way. This is pretty. It's like, trust me, this is like a process to me. You gotta do the whole research. You gotta do like savings. It's just a lot of process going on. But yeah, so if I be a little inconsistent, that's why I'm working on these projects. So yeah, but hopefully you understand. With that being said, love y'all. What a video, man. Bye. Oh, see you next video.